was a bitter dawn on the plains of Austerlitz, when a lone rider emerged through swirling mist, his figure etched in silhouette against the dim glow of sunrise. Troops who had slept under the weight of fear felt their hearts stir as he approached. He did not stride with generic bravado, but with a certainty so profound that it seemed to bend the air around him. In that moment, something shifted deeper than their bones. They saw not a man of flesh and blood, but a force of nature incarnate. When he lifted his gaze to meet theirs, the chill of doubt vanished. Without a single word, he commanded respect. That man was Napoleon. He rose from a tiny Corsican island to become Europe's most formidable general, not because of bloodlines or wealth, but because he mastered the inner landscape of respect. Today, we trace his path to authority, how he shaped not only battles, but the very hearts and minds of those around him. We will explore the psychological currents that allowed him to radiate unwavering conviction, build loyalty that outlasted empires, and stand as a living proof that respect, once earned, is as enduring as iron. Napoleon's journey toward commanding respect began long before Austerlitz, in the frozen vineyards of Italy, where he first learned that respect is born of vision. In the midst of winter's despair, soldiers shivering, supply lines broken, morale at rock bottom, he walked among them wearing a simple gray coat, his boots blackened with mud. But what his men saw was more than a soldier standing beside them. They saw a man who believed in a purpose greater than their suffering. He told them, "You are instruments of France, not cogs in a machine. Your bravery will speak when words falter." That phrase became a promise, a psychological anchor they clung to when bullets whistled past. In his presence, they knew he would carry their burdens as his own. Why did that matter? Because at the core of respect lies resonance. People instinctively measure others by the depth of their conviction. If a leader's vision is a flickering candle, his followers tremble in its weak light. Napoleon's vision blazed like a bonfire, consuming all uncertainty. In your own life, whether guiding a team or simply shaping your reputation, know that respect emerges when your convictions align so deeply with your actions that doubt cannot find a foothold. When you stand among others and radiate an unshakable belief in your purpose, even in the teeth of adversity, people sense it as a current stronger than the coldest fear. But vision alone is only one strand in the tapestry of respect. Presence forms another. Napoleon perfected the art of merging empathy with authority. He did not stand above his troops in gilded finery. He stood within them, sharing their discomforts. He knew that when a leader slides off a comfortable horse and trudges into mud alongside his men, something shifts. They see he is willing to risk the same hardship. He is vulnerable in the same way. That vulnerability isn't weakness. It is an investment in psychological safety. By showing he shared their plight, he told them, "I am one of you, yet I rise because I choose to." Modern psychology confirms what Napoleon lived. Authenticity dismantles barriers. In a boardroom crowded with resumes and tailored suits, the executive who rolls up his sleeves and listens, really listens, to frontline workers commands a level of respect that credentials alone cannot deliver. True presence means leaning into discomfort, acknowledging it, and using it to build bridges of trust. When people sense that you do not hide behind titles, but engage with them on equal footing, they respond with loyalty rather than mere compliance. Yet presence must be married to decisiveness, a third pillar of Napoleon's authority. At Arcole, he crossed a burning bridge under heavy enemy fire, not because he sought glory, but because he knew he had to break the tide of fear. In that moment, He taught his soldiers that hesitation is the poison that corrodes will. When you make a choice to speak up, to act, to pivot, your decisiveness reveals itself as a beacon. People admire the one who leans into uncertainty with a clear direction. They sense that if you are willing to confront chaos, you possess the inner strength to navigate any storm. Psychologically, this taps into our innate need for leadership in moments of crisis. Research shows that when uncertainty looms, groups gravitate toward the person who appears most certain, even if that certainty is later tempered by reality. Napoleon understood that hope, when anchored in decisive action, becomes contagious. In your own sphere, be it a crisis at work or a fraught negotiation, taking a stand, even amid doubt, sends a powerful signal. I will carry us through. That signal alone can transform anxious uncertainty into collective courage. To command enduring respect, Napoleon also cultivated intellectual mastery. He pored over maps, analyzed enemy formations, studied cultural customs of distant lands. Every detail mattered. He believed that war is 90% information, and this principle extends to any realm. When you demonstrate a deep understanding of your field, anticipating challenges, seeing angles others miss, you position yourself as a living repository of knowledge. In meetings, when you anticipate questions before they arise, your colleagues sense a confidence grounded in competence. Respect swells not because you delight them with answers, but because you replace their anxieties with certainty. Intellectual mastery breeds respect, but only if tempered by humility. Napoleon knew well that to demand respect, one must also be willing to grant it. After Marengo, instead of hogging accolades, he praised his soldiers. "You are the true heroes. I am but the instrument." By sharing honor, he magnified his own brilliance. Psychology tells us that people forge stronger bonds with leaders who share credit because it activates our social reciprocity, our urge to repay kindness with loyalty. When you elevate others, acknowledge their contributions, highlight their successes, you create a culture of respect that sweeps upward to you. However, wielding power too harshly can erode respect just as swiftly. Napoleon's later years saw harsh conscription laws and draconian punishments that sowed resentment among the ranks. A leader who rules through fear may command obedience, but not respect. Fear is fragile. It crumbles when options appear. True respect demands a balance between authority and empathy. When you enforce rules, do so with fairness and transparency. Let people understand not only the what, but the why. When they see that your decisions align with a coherent purpose, they respect both your vision and your humanity. In your own sphere, whether leading a project team or guiding family decisions, consider how your authority is perceived. Are policies imposed without explanation, breeding resentment? Then respect may be present only as silent compliance. But if you communicate the rationale, if you show you understand the costs and sacrifices involved, you move people from fear to admiration. They see you not as a distant enforcer, but as a steward of shared goals. Discipline was Napoleon's constant companion. He rose before dawn, consumed by strategic reports and logistical puzzles, long after others surrendered to sleep. His life was a testament to the psychology of self-control. By demonstrating rigorous focus, he created a standard others felt compelled to match. When teammates or subordinates see you resist distractions, honor your commitments, and push boundaries, they view you as a model of reliability. Respect, then, becomes a silent contract. If I match his discipline, I am part of his circle of trust. If you build a reputation for unwavering dedication, arriving on time, delivering on every promise. You weave respect into your daily routines. Yet, even the greatest discipline must bow to the power of genuine empathy. Napoleon once wrote that punishment without understanding is the height of cruelty. He knew that to maintain respect, he had to balance his unwavering demands with authentic care for his men's well-being. When he visited a wounded soldier's bedside, offering solace and praise for bravery, he demonstrated that respect is a two-way street. In your leadership journey, show interest in others' struggles, lend an ear, acknowledge their challenges, and offer support. This blend of high standards and empathy cements respect more firmly than stern commands alone. Still, respect is not a static achievement. It is a living organism that thrives on continual challenge. Napoleon famously cautioned that leaders who repeat the same tactics become predictable, and predictability invites defeat. He reinvented his strategies, adapted to new terrains, explored untested alliances. In doing so, he kept both friends and foes enthralled by his unpredictability. In modern life, this translates into a willingness to embrace change and innovation. If you rest on yesterday's laurels, people begin to measure you by your last success. But if you push yourself into new arenas, learning a fresh skill, tackling an unfamiliar challenge, you signal that your potential is boundless. Respect deepens when others see you evolving, not stagnating. Finally, Napoleon's respect endured beyond his lifetime because he understood legacy. He once remarked, "I will be known in all ages, not from arrogance, but from his belief that a life lived with purpose leaves an imprint." When you shape your actions around values that transcend the immediate, be it honor, innovation, or service, you build a reputation that outlives you. In your circles, whether professional or personal, consider what legacy you are leaving. Are your decisions aligned with a higher purpose that others will remember? If you lead with integrity and vision, the respect you command today will echo in future generations. As you step away from this journey into Napoleon's art of commanding respect, remember these pillars. Cultivate a vision so vivid that others feel compelled to follow. Embody presence that merges empathy with authority. Act decisively, even when the ground trembles. Master your field so thoroughly that your insight becomes a beacon. Practice discipline without forsaking empathy. Balance authority with humility. Embrace change to keep your leadership alive, and shape your legacy with enduring values. In your own life, whether you lead a team, guide a family, or shape your community, these principles hold true. Respect is not a gift handed to you by rank or title. It is the crucible in which character, action, and empathy converge. By forging these elements in yourself, you become that silhouette on the ridge at dawn, the presence to which others bow simply because they sense you embody something greater than fear or comfort. You command respect, not by demanding it, but by becoming the living proof of a purpose so compelling that even the coldest dawn bends before your flame.